I remember thinking the bar smelled different that night. Not bad. Just unfamiliar. Like someone had opened a window and let another life drift in. It was a Thursday, the kind of evening my wife and I had turned into routine without ever discussing it. She worked late. I stopped by the place near her office. Sometimes we met there, sometimes we didn't. But the possibility was enough to make the walk feel companionable. I pushed the door open expecting the usual scatter of clinking glasses and low music. Instead, I saw her. Behind the bar counter, leaning closer than conversation requires. Her hand resting on a man's wrist in that careless way reserved for people who already understand each other. His body angled toward her like gravity had changed direction. It wasn't dramatic. No kiss. No secrecy performed poorly. Just comfort. My stomach turned with such immediacy that I stepped back before the door even finished closing behind me. I remember thinking, this is a misunderstanding. I remember hoping my body would believe it. I turned toward the exit again, already constructing a version of the evening where I never came inside. Where this image dissolved into doubt instead of memory. A hand touched my shoulder. Not urgent. Not tentative. Simply present. Don't worry, a woman's voice said beside me. Trust me, you'll want to see how this ends. I looked at her. She wasn't smiling in the way people smile when delivering bad news disguised as kindness. Her expression was composed, almost professional. Mid-30s, maybe. Dark coat, phone loosely in her hand like she had been waiting long enough for it to lose importance. Do I know you? I asked. No, she said. But I know him. We stood like that for a moment, two strangers connected by a direction neither of us had chosen. I followed her gaze back toward the bar. They've been careful, she said quietly. Careful enough that you question yourself first. The words didn't feel rehearsed. They felt observed. I was leaving, I muttered. I did that 3 weeks ago, she replied. Left. Drove around for an hour. Convinced myself I'd misread it. Her tone held no self-pity. Only chronology. They weren't even touching that night, she added. Just laughing in a way I hadn't heard him laugh at home in years. Something in my chest loosened, not relief, but recognition. We moved to a table near the back, far enough to watch without appearing to watch. The kind of distance that allows truth to reveal itself without confrontation forcing it into disguise. Up close, I noticed small details. The way my wife tilted her head when she listened to him. The way he anticipated her reaching for a glass and slid it closer before she asked. Micro-coordination born from repetition. How long? I asked. She inhaled slowly. I stopped counting after the patterns made sense. We sat in silence for a while. Not awkward silence. Functional silence. Like two people reviewing evidence neither wants to present. I'm Layla, she said eventually. I told her my name. We didn't shake hands. Across the room, nothing escalated. No betrayal theatrics. Just proximity that felt more intimate than any obvious boundary crossing. It was almost worse. I thought I'd be angrier, I admitted. You might be later, Layla said. Or you might just be tired. That landed harder than anything else. Because tired was accurate. Tired of replaying the past month in fragments. Tired of explaining the quiet distance between my wife and me as stress, workload, seasonal moods. Tired of compensating for something unnamed. Why are you still here? I asked her. She glanced toward the bar, then back at me. I needed to know whether this was about me failing him or him leaving long before I noticed. The distinction felt surgical. And? I asked. Her mouth curved slightly, not a smile, not sadness. I'm still collecting data. A few minutes later, a man approached our table. Mid-40s, polite posture, black button-down shirt with a small silver badge clipped near the pocket. The bar manager. I'd seen him before but never spoken to him. He looked at Layla first. Everything all right? He asked softly. She nodded once. Thank you for keeping the table, she said. His gaze shifted briefly toward the bar counter, then back to her. If you need anything else, just let me know. The exchange lasted seconds. But something about it rearranged the room. What was that? I asked. I spoke to him earlier, Layla said. Not about drama. Just clarity. I asked if he could keep things professional tonight. And he said he understood. We both looked toward the counter. My wife was now standing a little straighter. The men beside her moved with slightly exaggerated casualness, like someone aware of being observed without knowing from where. No confrontation had occurred. Yet the atmosphere had shifted. Authority doesn't always announce itself loudly. Sometimes it simply removes the illusion of privacy. I felt my nausea recede, replaced by a calm I didn't expect. They look uncomfortable, I murmured. They look visible, Layla corrected. That word stayed with me. Visible. Not exposed. Not punished. Seen. We watched a little longer, but the urgency drained from the moment. Without secrecy, their interaction lost its intimacy. It became what it technically was, two people standing behind a bar during a shift. Ordinary. I don't think I need to stay, I said eventually. Layla nodded. I reached that point last week. We stepped outside together. The night air felt colder than it should have been, or maybe my skin was just recalibrating. For a while, neither of us spoke. Traffic passed. A motorcycle idled at the corner. Someone laughed loudly from inside the bar, the sound strangely disconnected from us now. I kept asking myself what she had that I didn't, I admitted. Layla looked down the street. I kept asking why he stopped telling me things that mattered. Different questions. Same emptiness. Do you think they're happy? I asked. She considered this longer than I expected. I think they feel understood in ways we didn't notice they were missing, she said. That doesn't make it right. But it makes it human. The absence of bitterness in her voice startled me. And us? I asked. She met my eyes. We're here. Not pretending we didn't see. A car passed, headlights sweeping across us briefly before disappearing. I thought tonight would break me, I said. It might still hurt tomorrow, she replied. But tonight gave you information. And information is stabilizing. I exhaled. For the first time since walking into the bar, my body felt aligned with reality rather than fighting it. We exchanged numbers, not out of obligation, but because shared context creates its own gravity. Before leaving, Layla paused. You know, she said, this wasn't about catching them. I didn't need proof. I needed perspective. I nodded. Inside the bar, life continued uninterrupted. Glasses clinked. Orders were called. Music looped. But something fundamental had concluded for me, not the marriage itself, not yet, but the uncertainty that had quietly eroded my confidence. I'm glad you stopped me from leaving, I told her. She smiled, faint but genuine. Me too. We walked in opposite directions. No triumph. No collapse. Just the unmistakable stillness that follows understanding. And for the first time in weeks, I didn't feel sick. I felt awake.